Hey guys, what's up? This is Casey,
Coach Tom.
and this is Shot Science Overtime number 163. We want to thank you guys for being here today for one of our live shows. Remember, this is not like a short tutorial video. If this is not your thing, you can get out right now while you can. But if you want to talk to us for an hour about basketball stuff, get some of your questions answered, then we would love to have you here. So if this is not for you, that's cool. But what we do normally for these live shows is we have a topic that we talk about at the top of the show that we think is going to help you guys become a better basketball player, and we kind of spend a little bit of time waiting for people to show up and also send us questions. So if you guys have questions that you want us to answer about basketball stuff, it can be anything basketball related: shooting, passing, dribbling, defense, how to talk to your coach, conditioning, vertical jump, whatever. Send it our way while we're doing our chat up front, and we'll do our best to get to as many people as we possibly can after we talk about our topic. So our topic for today is this.
3 ways to improve your game.
Yeah, 3 simple ways.
3 simple ways to improve your game, yeah.
And these are things that, everybody wants the quick fix.
Yeah.
Everybody wants something to happen just without too much effort.
Yeah.
And typically that's not the case with anything. These are a few things that we think are kind of more kind of part of the mental aspect of this stuff, and it will help you in kind of making that switch quicker than if you were to I got to work on my skills. Skills take a long time to work up.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, so what is number 1 here?
Well, number 1 is that take better shots, take higher percentage shots.
And that sounds funny.
It does, yeah.
But here's the thing, is that most people don't know what a good shot is.
Yes.
They don't know what kind of shot to take. They don't take the proper steps to take a good shot.
Right, absolutely true. Sometimes your coaches will help you and they'll say, okay, in this particular play, when you catch the ball here, we want you to take a 3, or we want you to get a jump shot here, or we want you to attack the basket. So they give you a little bit of information there, but oftentimes we don't really know what a good shot is. And so we think it's really important that you understand that. So what do you think a good shot would look like? Well, number 1, is this a shot that's in my range? That's a really important thing to consider. The other thing is...
Well, I mean, when we're talking about range, too, sometimes your range that you think in your head is your range isn't necessarily your range.
How true. Yeah.
Your range, it's one of those things that you kind of have to have some humility about, and you have to realize, maybe I'm not quite a three-point shooter yet.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things you can work on. But if you put in the work, you can increase your range.
Oh, yeah.
So just know, what is that area within the range of the basket that you are consistently hitting shots.
Yeah.
That is your range.
Absolutely. The next thing that you want to really consider is this a shot I can make? Okay. And by that, I mean, are you contested? Is there a defensive person in your face? Can you get the shot off without it being deflected or blocked? Those are important things to be really aware of. And, a lot of young players hoist up shots in a hurry because they think they have an opening. And we learn more about that as we play the game. And so that is probably more a matter of experience. But don't be putting up shots that are questionable because your percentage of makes is going to be a lot lower than if you really take time for it.
Yeah, you don't want to just take a shot to take a shot.
Yeah.
That is one of the worst things that you can do as a basketball player.
Yeah.
You want to really work for those quality shots because you will get quality return on those shots.
Yep. Very true.
And so we want to look for good shots that are not contested, so open shots that are within your range, that aren't rushed, and basically have the highest percentage chance of going in.
Yeah. When we take those shots where we hurry them because we can feel that defensive pressure coming at us, usually we're not really very effective at that. Or if we find that the person is in our grill and we still want to force that shot up, not wise things to do. So what we want to do is make sure that you're shooting for a higher percentage shot. You're looking for that kind of shot. You're not just yanking it up there.
And the other thing is that you need to learn to create space to get the shot off.
Yeah.
It's one thing to not shoot contested shots, but typically if you are playing against a defender, they're going to be contesting your shot. So you need to learn ways to neutralize and get away from those people,
Right.
and take those shots that are open, and creating space is the way that you do that. And there's tons of offensive moves that you can look up to figure that out, and we have a ton of them on our channel.
Right.
So go look at our offensive tools playlists and stuff, and you can see that there are tons of things that you can do to make that possible. Right. And so, these are all things on taking shots that are going to be the highest value for you. That's what you need to be doing. It's not about just hoisting up shots.
Right.
Okay.
And as you play, and coaches remind you, you get a little bit better in recognition of what good shots are. I think that really is something just comes from playing the game a lot. So the second thing that we think is...
Well, hold on.
Go ahead.
The other thing is if you guys want to know what a good shot is, and this explanation isn't enough for you, you need to go watch our video on what is a good shot, or what's a good shot.
Yeah, what's a good shot?
And
Exactly.
we go through and we explain all the things, just like we did with demonstrations and stuff.
Right.
And you can see kind of what kind of decisions are a player making that make a good shot.
Yeah.
Okay,
Very true.
number 2.
Number 2 is this. You can actually help improve your game a lot by picking up more defensively. And, a lot of players coast through the defense, especially if they consider themselves important scorers. And the thing that's really interesting about that whole thing is that sometimes you put so much effort into shooting the basketball, and sometimes they're not good percentage shots, that in exchange for not playing very hard on defense. Well, one of the things that's important when you're playing defense and you're really playing hard defense is you get steals, you get deflections, you step across somebody's face and take a pass away from them, maybe you get to go on it. And so defensive play is really important. And, an awful lot of people really don't know how to play defense. And, I don't know if it's being taught as much as when I was a younger guy, but I know when I was a young guy, we really spent a lot of time just working on defensive skills, how to move your feet, what to do in this situation, what to do in that situation. If you were sensing that somebody was trying to they passed the basketball, let's say, to the wing, and that person that passed it to the wing is trying to cut across your face. Well, what happens is that if they can cut across your face and you're a trailer the whole time, they can give them the basketball and they go all the way to the ring. And so one of the things that we always teach is really kind of a tough defensive thing, is that you never allow a player to cross your face between you and the basketball. And so one of the basic rules is a pass is made to the wing on the left, say, and you're playing on a point, you jump in that direction. So you always have good position. You can help on that guy that's at the wing. If he tries to cut through there, you can help defend that. But more importantly is that guy that throws that ball to him can't cut across your face. We'll let him go behind us, but we won't let him cut across our face. So those kinds of defensive things that you can do to really help your team and help yourself, and that's a simple way to kind of improve your game.
Yeah, I think you need to up your defensive intensity.
Oh, yes.
You need to be in the passing lanes, and you need to understand that having those type of approach to defense will help you on offense, because you'll pick up steals just off of being in the passing lane. People think that you get steals from popping the ball out and taking it from the guy when he's doing his dribble spiel.
Doesn't
happen
much.
very often.
No.
Usually it's from when you catch a ball in the air off the pass or deflect the pass.
Yeah.
And if you get that, you'll wind up with some of the easiest baskets you'll score in a basketball game off of that kind of stuff. And the other thing is that you are making life tough and hard for that guy that you're playing against. And typically when you flip it over and you go down the other side of the floor, he's going to be frustrated there as well.
Yeah, right.
And that's going to take him out of playing good defense against you. So you really need to have kind of a controlled but higher intensity approach to defense.
Yeah, and one of the things they talk about is playing really hard, having effort. And I heard a description today. I was watching an interview panel of NBA coaches, and one of the things they were talking about is how some players play at a higher intensity level. And one of the other coaches said he thought that that was a learned skill. You didn't just come that way. That was something that you learned somewhere along the line that makes you a better player. I believe that's the case as well. I think you can get better, and you have to get better if you're going to be an outstanding player. Okay, so that's a learned skill, just like learning to dribble a basketball.
Yeah, and like you were talking about before too, beat them to the spot. And that means, in the scenario you were talking about, when they're crossing your face, but it also means when they have the ball and they're attacking the basket, beat them to the spot, because then they either have to change direction, or they have to stop, or they have to plow into you.
Yeah.
And all of those scenarios are good for you and not for them.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
beat them to the spot.
Yeah.
Are we good on that one?
Yeah, we're good on that.
Okay,
one.
guys, thank you so much for all the comments in the side here. We got some from Daniel and Dan and Sean and Lucas and DeAndre. Tons of people. Keep sending us your questions, because we're going to get to those in just a couple minutes, and we'd love to see that everybody's kind of showing up.
Right.
All right, so number 3.
Number 3 on our list is communication. One of the things that is lacking in many basketball programs and teams and
Especially
whatnot,
younger people.
mostly younger people, yes, you find they don't communicate very well on the floor on offense or on defense. And most people think, well, the communication in basketball usually is on the defensive side. Well, it is, but at the same time, there's a lot of communication that can and does go on the offensive side. And you see a lot more of that probably in higher level basketball, maybe in college or pro levels. But one of the things that's so important is when you begin to communicate with your teammates about what is happening, because some teams or some members of the basketball team don't have vision on things that are happening away from them. And for example, let's say that there is a back screen coming up on somebody at the wing, and you're communicating to that guy, we got a screen on the back, and you're talking in higher tones. You're not shouting, but you're talking enough volume that they can hear you, and that allows them to make whatever adjustments they need to make before that screen gets there. And so those are the kind of things that can make you a lot better too, is just learning to communicate what is going on defense, particularly, and on offense. One of the things that really kind of singles out good defensive teams from average defensive teams are the communication that they have with each other as they play. And there's a special language that kind of goes along with that. A few years ago, I took and put together cues that people could or should make when they're playing on defense. And those cues are very important, because if screen right, okay, that tells me or tells the person that you're talking to that there's a screener coming up on his right. Okay, and then you call for the switch. Maybe we've got a down screen that one of the guys is not seeing, and so when you're calling that out, then that helps the whole defensive flow. And so those things can make you better players.
Yeah, well,
and pretty simple things to do.
Communication works on different levels too.
Yeah.
Like, some of it is letting your teammates know what's going on, because they don't have eyes in the back of their heads, so they don't see the screen coming or whatever, or you don't know exactly. And sometimes too, communication is not verbal; it is also body language and eye contact
And hand signals.
and hand signals. But all of that stuff is letting information be shared between you and your teammates.
Yep.
And the other part of it too is that you are exposing the other team for what they're trying to do to you.
Yeah.
And you're taking away kind of their element of surprise on some of the stuff that they're trying to spring on you and your teammates. And that can be frustrating for them too, because they don't want you to know all this stuff that's happening. And it's tough to play against teams that are constantly communicating with each other, because it's just like you're just sending out all this information, and everybody knows what's going on, so it's hard for anything the other team is trying to get organized to happen without that. And maybe you're playing on offense and you don't even have the ball, but you see that your man is coming off to do a little double team blitz on the guy with the ball. You can tell that guy beforehand, and then he can see it coming, and he can have time to adjust and figure out what to do. And then maybe he can hit you with the pass, and you get the shot. Or, maybe you have just set a screen and you've rolled to the basket. If you just walk with your hands down and you don't say anything, then maybe your teammate doesn't even know that you're open. But if you turn and you have your hand up, that's communication.
That is communication, yes.
And you have eye contact, that's communication.
Right.
And you say ball, then that's communication as well. You got 3 levels of communication going on. That's going to increase your chances of getting the ball and a shot that many times.
Yeah, and when we're talking on defense, one of the things that young players, they're a little bit reluctant to be too overt. They don't want to talk too loud. Well, one of the things that is really uncomfortable is the fact that people are talking on defense, but you can't hear what they're saying. And so we really emphasize that you need to really blast it out. Let them know what's happening so that in a volume that they can hear and understand clearly.
Yeah.
Because with the crowd is cheering and everything going crazy, and they need to hear what you have to say defensively.
Okay, so here are the 3 simple ways to greatly improve your game, in no time.
Yeah.
And they're: number 1, take higher percentage shots. Number 2, become a tough defender. Increase your intensity on defense. And 3, communication on both sides of the floor.
Yeah.
Okay? So they may seem simple, but they are more complex if you try to implement them. And so you just need to get into it and do it. Those are things that great players do, are all 3 of those things.
Yeah.
And go check out our videos on all that stuff too, especially the how to make good, or what's a good shot video.
What's a good shot, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to stop that topic. If you guys have more questions about it, just let us know. We're going to jump into answering your questions that you guys have been sending into us while we were talking. But first, we want to ask our question of the week that we ask every time that we have a live show, and that is this.
Where are you from?
Yeah. We want to know where in the world you guys are.
Where in the world are you from? Yes.
Because we're sitting here in Santa Cruz, California. It's south of San Francisco. And we want to know if you guys are from Lithuania, or if you are from Georgia, or if you're from Japan. Yeah. Or from South Africa. We want to know. So let us know where you guys are from, and we're going to shout out people as we get a few of those in. And let's jump into some of the... Oh, we got DeAndre Davis from Georgia.
All right.
Alamo Tungo from India. Aaron is from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Zach is from Detroit. And Anam Tanganen is from Watsonville. He's here all the time.
He's here all the time.
Chico is from Dubai. Kunal is from India. And Romar Yaniel is from Puerto Rico. Lucas is from Brazil. Javier is from New Mexico. Awesome, right. You guys.
That is awesome.
Keep sending in where you guys are from, because we want to see that. And if you could go out and tell your friends and family to watch and be part of Team Shot Science, that is awesome for us. Yeah. So please help us out.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. We're back at the top. This one's from Cedric. He says, hi. Marcel says, sup. Aaron says, hi. Z Crossover says, hey, Shot Science. Toxic says, hello. Dion Johnson says, hey, with a lot of hand raised emojis. And Z Crossover says, hey, Tom, or hey, Casey and Tom.
All right.
Gabriel says, hey. Okay, this one is from Alamo Tungo, who says, how to fix my jump shots.
Well, what's wrong with it? If we knew more about what the problems you're having with it, we could maybe help you with it. So get back to us and tell us the problems that you've been having.
And Z Crossover is asking the same kind of thing. Well, here's the other thing, is that before we get to that and you get back to us, one of the things that you can do is go check out our video called How to Fix Your Shot.
Yeah.
And that will show you kind of ways to self-diagnose problems with your shooting. But I mean, we don't know what's wrong with it unless you give us more information.
Let me throw a couple of things out that are typical problems for jump shooters. One of the things that we tend to do when we are jump shooting is that we jump and we hold the ball too long at the top of the jump. And what happens is that as soon as our vertical has gotten us to the top of our jump, the power from our legs disappears. It's gone. It's not there anymore. And all we're left with then is to shoot the ball with our shoulder girdle, arms, and hands. Okay, so the thing that we want to do is this, is as you're getting ready to reach the top of the jump, that's when you let the ball go. And what happens is this, is that then you catch the power from the legs. If you get up and wait at the top of the jump, before you execute the shot, you're starting to settle back to the floor already, and so all that power is gone. So important that you release the ball as you're reaching the top of that jump. That'll make a big difference. And how do you know? Well, visually, you can see the ball is probably short and flat. That tells you that there's not enough power. You can also feel that lack of power. As you get ready to release it, you're saying, there's not enough there. And so those two things alone probably could help you with your jump shot.
Yeah, and it's all about connecting the power. And if you're doing that stall at the top, you're also kind of messing with your rhythm as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this one is from Sharker Down, who says, "How to make the basketball team." Go check out our videos on how to make the team. I mean, that's the reality of all of it is this: is that you have to have your skills in place long before you show up on the court for tryouts. If you're 3 days away and you're like, what do I do to improve my skills?
It's a little late.
That's too late. But there are a few tips that we have if you have the skills in place that we think are important things that you can flip the switch overnight. So go check out our video on how to make the team. But skill development before is really important. And also go back and watch one of our last few live shows. I think we talk about some of the things that are important for coaches to see and important approaches for you to work on too. Let's see. Marcel Anderson is asking, what's a good workout? It depends on what you're trying to work on. I mean, we don't know. I think that whenever you're doing any kind of workout, you want to have a varied workout, you want to be consistent, and you want to use the 3 pillars of practice when you start putting that stuff together. And the 3 pillars are this. Number 1 is dialing in, slowing everything down, working on putting all the elements of the mechanics together. And you're doing that at a very slow, diligent kind of approach. Number 2 is the game speed, game intensity work. So you're taking the things that you did in the first pillar and upping them and amping them up to game speed, game intensity, doing some, shooting off the dribble, shooting off the pass, adding in a defender, or if you're doing like rebounding, same thing. All of it is game speed, game intensity. And the third pillar is getting experience, actual court experience. So you're doing pickup games, you're playing in your school team, whatever it is, you're getting experience using those things in the first 2 pillars in actual competitive settings.
Yeah, and there's another element in here. Let me throw this in because I think this is important. Students, I know my students, oftentimes will be working on a particular element, and I don't think they really try it when they are going to practice or if they go to pickup games and whatnot. And so an example might be we're going to take and use a scissor dribble and attack somebody to the basket. I think they don't do that because they're afraid of failure. Well, you know what? There's nobody that has learned to do anything in basketball, football, or anything like that in any sport that hasn't failed. And that's how we learn. We fail and then, okay, I got it. I think I understand that now. And then you work on that and it gets better and better and better. So it's important that you really work on those things and being in those little pickup games and working on maybe that scissor dribble or flat back dribble. Those are things that are really important for you to do because after you do them for a while, pretty soon they become easy. You don't even have to think about them. They happen. Okay?
Yeah, and you have to be willing to take a chance because if there's no risk, there's no reward.
Exactly.
And nobody that, became a great player ever, kind of sat there and worried about, well, if I try to do this crossover dribble and it screws up and I throw it against the wall, I'm going to be the laughing stock of the world and I will never, ever be able to play basketball again. No, because it's exactly the opposite. If you don't do it, then you will definitely not become a better basketball player.
That's the truth.
And taking that small risk, sure, maybe you throw it against the wall 500 times, but eventually you'll get it, and then nobody will have anything to say once you're able to pull it off. So
yeah, exactly.
Get over that fear of failure.
Yeah. You think that Kyrie Irving can use those change of direction dribbles, that he just kind of figured that out?
Yeah,
he worked on that, and that's why he breaks people's ankles in games, is that he has worked on it so much and hasn't worried about whether he's going to be successful or not.
Yeah, you have to have a thick skin and just get over it, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
This one is from Ihab El Sayed, who says, how to shoot from far range.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the farthest range that you should be shooting is just outside the 3 line. And the 3 line, is why shoot it further than that? You don't need to. You're going to get the same amount of points if you're shooting.
Well, your percentage starts to drop
Well,
off the
and your
further you move back.
Yeah, your percentage falls off the table as you move further away. So I would only be concerned with shooting just outside the 3 line where you pick up 3 points, okay? And so how do you learn to shoot there? You practice. And one of the things you do is this, you start short. Maybe you start at 8 feet. And you get those shot mechanics and finish and everything in order, then you move back. Maybe now you're going to shoot at 12 feet. And then you get really pretty good at that. And then you're going to move back and you're going to shoot from 14 feet until you get to the 3 line or just outside the 3 line. Most people, most high school kids and maybe college kids too, have no idea the distance of the 3 line. In high school, that 3 line is 19 feet 9 inches. Okay, so just mark that on the floor and just work outside. But the more that you build up, so you are able to handle the power and whatnot until you get pretty successful, then move out a little further. Then go through the same process, move out a little bit further.
It's really a progression. With any kind of training, it is a progression.
Yeah.
When you go and you start learning how to do squats, you're not gonna go, okay, well, I'm gonna try this at 50 pounds and then go, okay, well, I guess I'm ready to do 350.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. Same thing with shooting. You have to start in close, 2 feet in. We're working on the form shooting drill. We're putting all our shots in close. We take a step back, master that, take a step back, master that. And eventually you will get to 20 feet. And you just really need to work on that, because if you try to go from 2 feet to 20 feet, your mechanics break down. You'll start heaving. All of the fine intricacies of aiming go out the window.
Yeah.
So you have to progress.
Exactly right.
Okay. And again, go look at our video on the form shooting drill, and that will give you kind of the pillar 1 of the 3 pillars of practice on increasing your range.
Right.
Okay. This one is from Sean, who says, when I shoot and I jump, I feel very bad in the air. How can I fix it?
Why do you feel bad in the air? My guess is that you jump in the air and what are you going to do? You're going to shoot the basketball? Does this say, yeah, when I'm shooting? Probably what is happening is that you're waiting too long at the top. We talked about this just a few minutes ago. When you jump in the air, you want that shot, if you're going to actually shoot it, you want that shot on its way as you are reaching the top of your jump. If you're holding it, it is going to feel really weird and it's going to feel really underpowered. So that could be your problem.
Yeah, I mean, you got to connect all the pieces. That's probably why it feels funky.
Yeah.
And you have to also be consistent when in your practice about it, get a ton of repetitions, and then it'll start to feel better.
Yeah.
Film yourself. Go in there with your iPhone or whatever and film what you're doing and look at it. And then maybe go look at one of our videos, maybe one of the slow motion things. Does that look like what they're doing? What is wrong? Why does this not look like that? And you'll start to see, and you'll be able to self-diagnose some of the issues you're having.
Yeah.
This one is a quick one. Bashir says, how to break someone's ankles without tripping. Footwork.
It's all about footwork.
Slow it all down.
Yeah.
Get it as slow as possible.
Well, and ball control is a really important part of that too.
But he's tripping on himself. So
yeah, he is.
Footwork. Everything starts with footwork. So you really got to work on that first. Okay, let me see if we got any more locations of people. Erica Burton is from Jacksonville, Florida. Right. I think Erica's here a lot. I think she's the coach. Oh. Emanuela Alfred is from New York. Daft Pow 23 is from Colombia. Right. Manuel Rios is from New Jersey. Rose So is from Australia. Let's see here. Evan Lynn is from Canada. Flying Cow is from Awesome Land. Giedi is from Greece. Lev is from Ukraine. Lil Brown is from France. Javier is from New Mexico. Awesome. I think we got to some of those people before, but that's cool. Keep sending us in where you guys are from. Let's answer some more recent questions. Nitish Singh says, how to get the flick on the ball. We hate the term and the word flick.
Yeah, we do.
That is one of those things that is our big bugaboo.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because we are very big proponents of having a very relaxed, soft flop finish. Right. And if you are flicking is kind of like implies tension in your wrist and in your arm. Yeah. That tension is not good because you transfer it to the ball. That's tons more energy in the ball. And when that ball hits the rim or the backboard, it's going to expend that energy. And that is not what you want. You want the ball to, if it hits anything, you want it to die right there on the rim.
Really soft, yeah.
So that flop finish, it is very relaxed. You can see all the fingers are just flopping around. If you watch Michael Jordan or Steph Curry or Klay Thompson or Larry Bird or whoever it is in slow motion, you will see that they are not going. That's not a flick, and you can feel the tension in your arm. It's a very soft flop finger release, and what that does is it gives the ball a gentle rotation, and when the ball hits the backboard or the rim, it's basically has sticky fingers, and it just bounces right there at the rim.
It's a real short bounce, yeah.
The more energy, boom, and it bounces out with a very harsh rebound.
Yeah.
So don't want to flick, but work on having that flop finish where it's just, it just flops right over the top of your wrist.
We actually have a video on that. You should go take and check that out.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Okay, let's see here. Jonathan Richardson is from Jamaica. Cool.
All right.
Oh, here you go. You got a shout out. They're not talking about me, I guess. Abdul Rahman says, "This old man is really cute, isn't he?" Yeah.
Really cute.
I just got burned on that one. This one is from Romar Yaniel, who says, "How can I get better at passing or vision?"
Well,
You got to work on it, number one.
yeah, probably passing is one of the weakest fundamental skills in basketball for most people. They don't do it enough. Oftentimes the instruction maybe is not up to par, but so important to move the basketball. And one of the things you're seeing now with the advent of what the Warriors do, what San Antonio does on offense as far as the pros are concerned, there is so much ball movement. They are passing the ball from one player to another. They're passing it cross court, skipping it. And so practice is really important to learn how to do that. And we have video on passing as well, how you can improve that. But it just takes work just like everything else. But think in this term, learn how to do it and do it correctly, and then start working on it. And you'll find that it comes around really quickly. One of the things that's really kind of amazing to me, I've been doing this for so long, and I'm still kind of amazed by this, is I have players who come to me that are sophomores or even juniors in high school, and they can't dribble, and they're passing in very good either. And my point is this: why? Why can't you do that? Well, I know the answer. The answer to it is it's no fun. When you're shooting, there's a reward for you, and that reward is the fact the ball goes through the basket sometimes. And that's a reward, and that gets you going so you can make more of them. In ball handling, there is not that immediate reward, and yet that's one of the most important things about basketball is dribbling and shooting, okay?
Yeah,
or passing, I'm sorry.
I think that, when it comes to passing there, it is more complex than people let on. It is not just the mechanics of putting up or taking up, your pass and passing to somebody else. You also have to learn how to create the space and the opportunity to make the pass. I think that's a huge thing. Yeah. So one of the things that we talk about is fake a pass to make a pass. And that's one of those videos you can check out. The other thing is that being able to decipher what kind of pass is necessary in that situation.
Exactly.
Should it be a drop pass? Should it be an overhead pass? Should it be a bounce pass? Should it be a chest pass? How do I get it into the guy in the post? Sometimes you have to take a dribble to get a better angle. There's a lot of things that you need to do to work on your passing, and you have to be smart about it too. And the other thing is the vision. The vision, there's a lot of ways to work on that. Number one is to just do the stuff and do it with your head up. We have, I think we have a drill on our channel that it has, it's a 4-man drill, but you can do it with 3 or 5 or whatever. But you have one guy in the hot seat. You have 3 guys that are on the other side of him, directly across from him. You have 2 basketballs, and you are zipping passes to each other and you're hitting a new person each time. And that really is going to help fire the vision that you need to have going, because if you don't have good vision, you'll catch the ball on the side of the face, and that's no fun. Yeah. So check out, I can't remember what the name of that video is, but it's one of our passing videos, and that's a really good one. And you can do that with, two friends. I mean, you can have one basketball and you just hit the different guys, and maybe you have one of them hold up hands and work on stuff that way. You have to be a little bit smart about your approach to that stuff.
Let me go back and just kind of underline something. You'd be surprised how quickly you start to pick up improvement in your passing and your dribbling if you just spend time on it.
Yeah.
And I would say if you spent 10 or 15 minutes a day just working on those two elements together, you'd be surprised how quickly it comes around for you.
Yeah, and here's one of the things too, is that so many people sit there and worry about, oh, I'm not good at passing, or I wish I was better at passing. That is not actionably helping yourself. The players that become great are the ones that figure it out and make it happen.
Yeah.
And maybe it comes down to, okay, I'm not a good passer. This is what I'm going to do. This is my approach. I'm going to get mom and dad. We're going to get out there. We're going to work on my passing with both of them, and you're going to put yourself out there, because if you don't, then you won't get better. Or I don't have a gym. What am I going to do? I can't shoot. Well, then you got to figure it out and make it happen by, maybe there's a playground nearby. Maybe there's an open gym. Maybe there's I don't even know, a YMCA or a Boys and Girls Club. You got to go there. Or maybe you can mow lawns for a summer and get a basketball hoop yourself. I don't know, but you need to figure it out. And a lot of these questions that you guys have are solid questions, and they are the exact questions you used to be asking, but some of it is that you need to make it happen, and you need to, if you want to be a great player, you need to take it upon yourself to do it. Okay, that was the Tony Robbins moment. Here we go. This one is from, there was one I saw that I wanted to do, but this was from Henry Lee 3333, who says, can you tell me how to gain control and get familiar with the feeling of dribbling with my left hand?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Keep it short, because I'm going to send them to our video.
Okay. All right. So one of the most important things is to use the left hand. We don't do that kind of stuff because, well, we're not used to, and we don't want to screw it up. And so the point is...
Or it feels weird.
Yeah, it feels weird and different, okay, and you don't have the control that you have with the other hand, but you will surprisingly quickly if you just spend time working on it. And we don't spend time on it because we might embarrass ourselves. Well, my approach on that is screw that. If you have your mind where you want to be a good basketball player, you have to work on all the elements of the game. And your weekend is an absolute important one for you to be able to do. Here's the thing that's going to happen to you at some point. Maybe you learn to shoot the basketball really good, and you're putting that thing in the hole, and everything is wonderful, and all of a sudden that defender is no longer stepping back and away from you and give you a little space. Now he's up in your grill, and now what are you going to do? Well, not only that, he's on your strong hand, and he won't let you attack that way, and so you're stuck. You've got to put the ball on the floor with your weak hand, and it's a turnover just waiting to happen. So the only thing that I can tell you that I think is really meaningful is spend time working on it. And we just spent a moment or two ago, probably 15 minutes a day, crazy good in a very short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the consistency aspect of it too. A lot of people, it's like, it was hard enough to work on that right hand, or that strong hand. And then it's like you switch it over to the other hand, and it's like, well, forget this. This is too hard. I put so much work in on the other side.
And I can't do it.
The reality is that the weaker side, or your non-dominant hand, is going to be much harder to work with. It's not as coordinated as your strong hand, and it takes more work and effort and consistent work. And, that's just the bottom line. People think that there's some magic approach to it. There isn't. No. And if you go watch our video on how to develop your weak hand, you'll see that it's mostly about just doing it, and it's the same stuff that you would do with your strong hand. It's just doing it more and being consistent about it.
And not being concerned about whether you lose the basketball. One of the things that we kind of have as a byline when we're talking to our students is this. There's two places where you can screw up that's going to have an effect on you as a player. And one of them is the game. The other one is at practice. Okay, who cares about practice? Be bold. So the ball rolls halfway down the street. Go get it, come back, start again. So that when you get into the game, you will have that skill pretty well mastered and you'll be satisfied with it.
Okay, this one is from Erica Burton, who I think is our coach friend.
Okay.
And she's asking, if I have an open gym before I actually have basketball tryouts, what should I be looking for besides basic basketball skills? And so I think she's talking about the players. I think obviously you want to see kind of attitudes and see how people are dealing with frustrations, see what their demeanor is out on the basketball court, right? I mean, these are all things that you would see and look at in basketball tryouts. All that stuff still applies.
It does, and you're kind of excluding basic basketball skills. So I think Casey's right, is that it really find out who they are. In this coaches discussion that I was watching today on TV, it was awesome. As some NBA coaches, and one of the things they were talking about is how important it is to learn who your players are, and that means that there's got to be some time when you put some effort into getting to know them, and that maybe it's on a personal level, maybe it's on a playing level, but pretty soon when you start coaching them, you're going to find out that there's going to be anger issues, there's going to be depression issues, and all those kind of things. So you need to kind of, okay, this person over here looks like they're a little weaker, they don't have very much confidence, so I'm going to help them instill more confidence. So by watching them play, you can pick up an awful lot just through body language, if nothing else.
I mean, you
about
can,
who they are and how they are with the game.
and you can, identify leadership skills and stuff too. I mean, sometimes that's hard to see in tryouts because people are being all about themselves and making sure that they are seen by coaches. But in open gyms, you can see kind of natural setting reactions of people. Okay, let's.
Well, hang on. Let's go back for just a moment on that too. I think it's really important too. If you spend time just chatting with players, maybe they're not involved in the game at that moment. Walk by, how you doing? What's up? Is school going okay? You got any problems that I can help you with? Blah, 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 blah. And so you kind of get to know them on a little bit more personal level even before you start practice. That helps you kind of assess where they are, who they are, and what they need from you.
And coaches are scary. I mean, that's just the thing is if you don't know the coach, they're scary. And if you know them, sometimes they're still scary. I know that, in high school, I was shy and reserved. And it's like I knew my coach since I was a baby, and I still was like intimidated. It helps a great deal for you to just kind of be involved and talk to them like they're real people.
Are you talking about me, B?
No, not you.
All right, just kidding.
But like my high school coach, let's say that. And that can be really intimidating. Even if you feel confident in yourself as a player, it's like, okay, now how does this coach see me? Where do I fit in? Blah, blah, blah. So you gotta, I think it's good if you're out there and you're kind of mingling and making it you less inaccessible.
Well, in a open gym such kind of situation, that's a little bit informal, which is what you like, and just kind of meander around and chat with people and get to know them.
Okay, let's we're going to shorten up our answers on some of these because we are getting so many questions that we need to answer a few more.
Okay.
This one is from Panic Gaming, who says his name is Jason from Chicago. How can I read my defender better? Well, again, it comes down to a lot to experience. If you go watch our video on Defense 101, we kind of show you our approach to how you should kind of have just our general approach to how you should play defense. And then the other part of it is, number one, don't let them catch the ball. I mean, that should be the number one, is if you want to be a great defender, don't let them catch the ball. And if they have the ball, then the way that you set up and we showed in our Defense 101 is you kind of straddle the ball. And if the ball is on this side of the guy, it's going to be right down your midline. And if he swings at the other side, you get right on that midline. And so you are kind of hedging your bets on him going one way or the other, and you're going to be that half step closer to being there. And then the other thing is beat him to the spot. I mean, that's really the biggest thing.
Yeah, and that whole thing comes down to learning how to move your feet. One of the things that we teach all of our students defensively is they don't want to gather your feet together when you are sliding. You're trying to slide and stay with an offensive player. You don't want to slide your feet together because that makes you stand up more. And what you want to do is keep those feet can't really get in the right picture here, where they're not quite so close together. And that keeps your body low and allows you to move a little quicker.
And you want to make sure that you are focusing kind of more on their midsection, like a soft focus. If you're focusing on their eyes or their face or the ball or their feet or whatever, then that isn't really a good spot because they can make that go one direction and then go the other. If you kind of have that soft focus on their midsection, they can't go anywhere without that.
Yeah,
So,
right.
it's good to kind of have that focus. Okay. This one is from Gian Ocampo, who says, how to score more points as an off guard, where to go, shot selections, etc. Okay. Number one, you need to learn to move without the basketball. So many players, especially younger players, think that if they stand there with their hands up and their defender is letting them have that opening, that they deserve the ball. They do not. Yeah. So learn to do things like the L cut, the V cut, the backdoor cut, flashing the post, setting screens. All of these things are ways to move without the ball, create opportunities, and really solidify your cause for getting the ball.
Yeah, and I think one thing that kind of touches me here is how can I score more points? Okay, the thing that I think is really important for every basketball player that plays on every team is this. I'm going to take and score what they're going to give me. I'm not going to force anything. I'm not going to be doing anything out of sorts that's going to make me look like a ball hog because I'm shooting the ball all the time. Take what they give you, and then and make sure that you don't miss any of those chances when they give you a shot. If it's one you know you can make, then go ahead and load it up and go. But no player on the team, in my opinion, should be getting most all the shots unless you're the only shooter on that team.
Yeah, and like I was saying before, moving without the ball really builds your case to have the ball, and then also helps you get those easier opportunities, and helps your team too.
Yeah, it does.
So the case is that everybody wants to score more points. You have to do these things to really make it happen. Yep. Okay, Emanuela Alfred says, how to keep my balance when doing post moves. Got to have a strong foundational base. Got to get your butt down.
And get your butt down and make sure that you've got your weight over the balls of your feet. Often players who play in the post have got their heels weighted too much. And the reason is they're kind of leaning against pressure. And one of the things, this is kind of interesting to see this, and I've seen it a few times in pro games, where the player is leaning back on the defensive player, and he's got essentially the weight is too much on the heels, and the defensive player steps away and he falls out on his butt. You don't see it often, but that is indicating that your weight is in the wrong place. Get your knees bent. Get your butt down and get the weight over the balls of your feet, and that will help you an awful lot with balance.
Go watch our video on the introduction to post moves, and we kind of talk about all that stuff. And a lot of it is we do see a lot of players, especially post players, they like to stand up straight. And if you're standing straight up and down and I just give you one of these, you're going to go over because your center of gravity is so high. If you get your butt down and your feet are shoulder width apart, and you're not leaning, then you will be very hard to topple over. And the other thing is too, is that you get your butt down and you get that into somebody, that makes it difficult for them to move, jump, get around you, and you really will find that you will be kind of this impenetrable force there. And that's really one of the keys, is really the footwork and your butt getting down.
And getting your center of gravity low.
We are not following our our thing about doing quick answers here. But okay, this one is from Nitish Singh, who says, how to win jump balls. Any tips? It's all about timing.
It is. It's so much about timing. In fact, as I watch jump balls in high school games regularly, especially the younger teams, they wait too long to leave the floor. And what happens, the other team gets up, tips it away, and it takes a little time to learn how to do that. And so that's a skill that's not really taught. And yet I think it's an important one for possession early in the game. That really
work on it. Get your mom or dad.
Yeah.
Say, Mom, I need you to throw this ball up like you're the referee at the beginning of the game, and you can work on your footwork and your timing. Some of it too is that you want to have it so that you take a step in as you are going up for your jump. Some people try to just jump without a step.
Well, that and the fact that they start too late. The shot's already starting, or the ball is already starting up, and you haven't taken that step yet. And by the time you take it, it's up in the air. The other person has tipped it away.
Yeah, and this is a like little tip or information thing. Sometimes the referee, you can watch them. They will be practicing their tosses, and you can see, is this a ref that tosses it 12 feet in the air, or is this a guy that tosses it 8 feet? And you can kind of, it's not scientific, but you can see, okay, well, if I jump early on this, I'll be able to get it at the top of its peak, or if I jump early, I will miss it completely because it's 12 feet in the air. So you can kind of watch them do that. I mean, that's just a little life hack. Wing Fong says, how to get more assists.
Well, one of the things that I think is really important is seeing the floor. Oftentimes, players' vision is limited to a specific spot on the floor. And yet, if you take and talk in terms of peripheral vision, most people's peripheral vision is about 160 degrees from side to side. And so, looking straight ahead, you should be able to see your thumbs on both hands. I've got both my hands out right now. I'm looking straight ahead into the monitor, and I can see both thumbs, and they're about 160 degrees. So that is the field of area that we should see. And that is, with, Casey used a term a while ago, a soft focus. I'm not focusing on anything, but I'm seeing everything. And then when I need to, then I go to a hard focus where I maybe am focusing on a player or a situation. So I think vision has an awful lot to do with it. And the other thing that's important is anticipation. You anticipate what your teammates are going to do because you've played with them for a while, and you know that if this guy makes a back cut, he's going to come out hard. I can throw him the ball on the lead pass. And so all those things are taken into consideration in understanding how to get assists.
I think that is definitely what I would say. I think the other thing I would say is that you need to attack. If you're just standing there at the top of the key and you're waiting for something to happen, good luck. Nothing will happen. But if you're attacking, and we call it drive, draw, dish, where you are attacking the gaps, you're attacking the basket. As soon as you do that, the defense has to react. They can't just stand there, because if they do, then you'll just lay it on right on in. So if you attack, they have to pull guys to try to stop what you're doing. When they do that, that opens up opportunities for your teammate. So, the guy that was guarding your teammate on the post, he has to come up to stop you. You drop it into that guy. That's an easy 2 points for your teammate.
Right.
So, attack. Javier Elliott says, how can I make my shot faster?
One of the things that has always perplexed me is people wanting to shoot their shot faster. There was a high school coach recently that was talking to me about one of his players who happened to be one of my students, and he said, he's so slow in getting the shot off. Well, he's not really slow. In watching him, he's very efficient with what he does. And so timing-wise, it may look like he's slow, but he's not. And the more we try to speed everything up, the more ill effect that we're going to have on the basketball. It's going to go right. It's going to go left. It's going to be long. It's going to be short. And what we really want is to be super efficient with our stroke. That's way more important than being fast.
Efficiency lends to speed and quickness.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a whole bunch of things going on to get your shot off, then that's just going to add time to your shot.
Exactly.
So the more efficient you are, and if you look at the most efficient shooters like Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, I mean, those guys, they are not going to be the most athletically quick people. So it doesn't make sense that they would have these shots that are so quick. But if you look at their mechanics, they are so efficient. They're not putting in any unnecessary elements into their shot.
Right. And one of the things I think is really important too is to learn what good footwork is all about. Because oftentimes we hop into shots and we hop sideways into shots and we're off balance. And if you learn how to effectively use the 1-2 or lead trail kind of footwork when you're shooting, you'll find that you become much more efficient as well as when you are executing the shot itself.
Yeah, I mean, the 1-2 footwork, you get a huge amount of the shooting mechanics out of the way before you even pick up the ball or catch the ball. And it's so much quicker to do that, and it's more on balance, it's more efficient, and there's just less moving parts.
Well, and those are the elements that are way more important than speed when you're shooting the basketball.
I mean, one of the things that I think somebody told me was you never rush your feet, or you never rush your finish, you rush your feet. And that's one of those things where you're getting to the spot to your shot before you're trying to rush anything with your shooting mechanics. Right. If you try to rush your shooting mechanics, you will add tension to your muscles and the release on the ball, and that will just lead to a very live, probably flat basketball shot. Yeah. And that is not what you want. You want to really be relaxed and have everything be a real smooth release. If you are having trouble getting the shot off because of the defender being there, that is more an issue with creating space and creating a good shot opportunity. And if you are finding that your shot is not efficient, then you need to make changes to make it more efficient. You want to eliminate things like dips and hops and any kind of stopping or sticking points in your mechanics, and make sure that it is everything that you're doing is just you're using it because it's necessary. If it's not necessary, you eliminate it.
Exactly right.
Okay, that's kind of a long-winded response to that, but that's what it's all about. Let's see here. This one is from Swift Blitzer, who says, "My name is Bailey. I'm from Wisconsin. I just wonder if you have any tips for beating a hard team I play against."
Beating a hard team. Well, we don't know why they're hard. Why are they hard? Is it because they're big, they're tough, they are really aggressive on defense? It's hard to know, to give you any kind of direction when we don't know what a hard team is.
The thing is that you just got to go out there and play them and forget about the fact that, they're intimidating because they're better or bigger or faster or whatever. You just got to go out there and play against them and maybe do the things that they don't do. Maybe they aren't very good at guarding you if you're good at doing all these moving without the ball things. You're setting screens, you're doing L cuts and V cuts, and you're hustling on defense. Make life hard for them, and they might not respond very well.
Yeah.
I remember playing in high school games, and there were several teams that were, not even just high school. Even in our AAU experience and traveling team stuff, there were teams that you would hear about, and say, and people would say, "Oh, that team you will not beat them. They are too good. They will blow you out." Blah 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 blah. And sure, sometimes that happens, but sometimes you play against a team and you guys are doing the things that are very fundamental and precise, and they don't know how to respond to that. And you just take them completely out of their game and play your game, and suddenly they are not the team that you had been hearing about. Right. So yeah, let's see here. Evan Lynn says, "When I shoot great, why do I shoot great in half-court games but can't hit anything in a full-court game?"
Probably fatigue.
Yep.
You're up and down the floor and you don't think about that. In fact, one of the things that we've talked about earlier today, and we talk about it a ton, is the fact that there are 3 pillars of practice that really make you a better player. And number one is you get out, and I'll just do this real quick. Number one, make sure you've got good, clean, effective motions when you are learning how to do something, whether it's shooting, dribbling, or whatever. Number 2, once you've kind of get it down, take it to the court and execute at full speed, game speed that is. And that means that you get used to playing at a different speed when you're doing that. And then finally, when you've kind of got that kind of ironed out, then take it to the court where you play with maybe pickup games, AAU teams, school teams, whatever. But that's really what you need to do.
Yep. Dan is asking, how can I show my game when there are so many plays?
So many what?
Plays. Well, here's the thing. You should stop worrying about your game because this is a team sport.
Yeah.
So you just need to go out there and play, within your capabilities and play within the framework of the team, and that's really all you can do.
Well, let me tell you one more thing that's real important. Sometimes players, and even team groups of players, will shut you out if they don't trust you. And what does that mean? Well, what it means is they're afraid if they give you the basketball that you're going to either turn it over or give it up to the other team. What you need to do is really work on execution of maybe your shots, your ball skills, or whatever it is, all of that, just so that when they throw the ball, you know what to do and you get something done. And as soon as they figure, oh, okay, he can get this done if I give him the basketball. They're looking for you then. And so you have to carry your end of that plank as well.
Okay, lightning round. We're going to hit a few quickly. This is from Romar, who says, when I get to the NBA, I'm going to shout you guys out. Awesome.
All right, we want to hear it.
Daft Pow 23 says, how to deal with help defense when driving to the basket. You got to read the defense, read the situation. If that guy is coming off to catch you, that probably leaves your teammate open. So hit that guy, and that comes back to the whole drive, draw, dish thing.
Yeah,
right?
It does. It does.
Or you can throw in a fake, maybe a fake pass and then right into the layup, or you can do a jump stop, shot fake up into the shot. I mean, there's so many things to do. You got to read the situation.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lucas is asking, how can I improve my intelligence in the game?
You know, that just comes from experience, and the more you play, probably the smarter you get. You should. That's what should happen.
I mean, you need to be analyzing things.
Yeah.
You can't just sit there and look and not have any kind of computation or anything going on. You need to be like, okay, well, why is that guy doing that? Oh, that worked. What happened there? Why is my shot not going in? I'm going to fix it this way. Watch videos. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. You just have to be kind of a student of it.
Right.
Let's see. Jasminder says, how do I overcome my fear of driving to the basket?
Well, why are you afraid?
Typically, people are afraid because they aren't confident in their skills or the execution of their skills.
Yeah, and they're afraid they can't get it done. Okay, so how are you going to get it done if you never try it? Okay, one of the things that I would suggest is that every time you get a chance in a pickup game or something like that, try to figure a way that you can attack the basket and go for it and see what happens. Maybe you turn it over. How come? Okay, I think I got that. And then go again, go again, go again. People who are great at attacking the basket have spent time on working on how to get there and what to do. So it's a matter of experience.
Yeah, and like we said before, you have to eliminate that fear of failure and set yourself up in situations where maybe it's a more controlled situation where you feel more comfortable, where you're working on that second pillar of practice in maybe at a gym with a friend or your parents or your brother or sister or whoever, your best friend. I don't know. But really, you have to have confidence in your skills if you're going to have confidence in the execution of those skills in a game.
I get that one right there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. This is one from Kingo Fu 13, who says, I'm an assistant coach for high school freshmen and JV. After the season, the varsity coach is going to retire, and I feel I won't be brought back for the following season. What would be the best? And then he says, option for me as far as a job, should I go to a middle school or look to be an assistant elsewhere?
You know, that kind of depends, from my point of view, it kind of depends on what feels comfortable for you. In fact, I don't think there's anything that would keep you from just asking the question, if the coach is going to retire, do I have any possibility of staying with the program as an assistant coach?
Or I would like to possibly step in as the head coach of the team or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And just go talk to him and ask him. And I would talk to the head coach first. And the head coach usually will say, okay, I'm not the person to talk to because I'm the one that's going to be retired. Talk to this person here or that person there.
Or they may say, I would definitely recommend you for the spot.
Yeah. And
sometimes it's just about putting it out there.
Well, yeah, and not being afraid to either. And if it means that you're not going to be back, then I'd start looking for another spot where you figure that you could fit in and do well there as well. Maybe if you're a really young coach, as an assistant coach, maybe you're not ready for a varsity level, but an assistant or something like that at another school, find out what's happening first. That's a key point.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing, though, is that if you just sit back and let things happen, that's the best way to have things pass you by.
Exactly right.
So you need to really just put it out there and be a little bit confident. And sometimes just asking or saying the question sometimes people don't even want to do the work of trying to find a coach, and they know that you know the system and the kids and all that. It might be just as easy as saying, hey, I would be interested in it. And then they'll be like, sure, you got it.
Yeah.
You never know. This is the last one we'll do right here. But before you guys go, we have 2 questions for you, and we want you to answer them. So after this, we will talk about that. Chain Gaming says, I was doing really good last month, and early this month, I started doing pretty bad after I missed a couple workouts because I was sick and tired. What do you think went wrong, and how do I fix it?
Get some rest.
Yeah.
Get some rest. You know, your body is the vehicle that you use to do all of these kind of things. And if you have situations where your body just is beat down and you're tired and whatnot, you need to rest.
And part of it too is...
And hang on a second. One of the things that will happen is that you'll be surprised when you get a little bit freshened by some rest, how quickly the other parts of your game come back. They're not lost. It's kind of like that old axiom, once you've ridden a bicycle one time, you'll be able to ride it the rest of your life. And so basketball is not quite that simplistic, but the idea is pretty much the same.
And you have to understand that if you aren't consistent with what you're working on or doing, that it's not going to be consistently there for you. So if you had to take time off, it's going to be a little rusty and a little funky, but if you put the work in and are consistent on bringing it back, it will be there. And it will be back faster than it was the first time that you tried it. So if you get frustrated about it not being there and the way that you use it is not towards motivating yourself to get better, then sure, it'll be a cycle of self-defeat, and that isn't good. You need to really motivate yourself to just, all right, I took some time off.
And get some rest.
Things are a little rusty. Let's just get back to work. Okay, so that's going to do it for us today, you guys. We want to ask you 2 questions, though. Number 1 is our question of the week that we ask all the time, and that is, where are you guys from? So tell us where you guys are from in the world. If you're from Hawaii, if you're from Japan, if you're from Sudan, we don't know. Tell us where you guys are from, because we like to see where everybody from Team Shot Science is living.
We want to see who's up late at night, too.
And go out there and tell your friends and family from wherever you are to be part of Team Shot Science, because we appreciate you guys helping us grow, helps us do more cool things for you. So that's question number 1. Question number 2 is this. I want to know what your best skill is in basketball. So if you're a great shooter, we want to know that. But I want to know, the second part is, I want to know what your weakest skill in basketball is, and then what are you going to do to make it better or improve it? So if that's ball handling, what are you going to do? What are you going to do this week to work on it? So let us know those 2 questions. Where are you from? Number 2 is, what is your best skill in basketball? What is your weakest skill? And what are you going to do to fix it? All right?
Yep, sounds great to me.
All right, you guys, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, guys.
We will be back next time, Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, for another live show. So please be there. Please tell your friends and family. Please follow us on everything Shot Science related. We're on Facebook. We're on Google+. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is. We are Shot Science and all that stuff, and we'd love to see you guys there. Thanks so much. Ooh, people are just telling us where they're all from. Francisco Martinez from the Dominican Republic. Asiel's from Florida. Awesome, you guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.